So today we are going to watch a survival movie from the Netflix side, which is IMDb rating 8.5. The movie can get an Oscar. And to be honest, this movie will be one of the top 20 survival movies in the world, because every scene of this movie is like a cut. And when I found out that it was based on a true story, then I was shocked for a while. So, who was it with when you saw the movie? Then you will feel different when you watch this movie. Well, I was talking about a Malayalam survival thriller movie called The Goat Life, so let's get started. The movie starts from the airport of Saudi Arabia, where two people have come from India's Kerala to Saudi Arabia. The two of them were actually brothers. The elder brother's name is Najib, and the younger brother is Hakim. Actually, the two of them have come to Saudi Arabia to work in a company through an agent. After reaching the airport, the two of them keep looking for their agent. They see that the other people's agent is leaving with them, but their agent hasn't come yet. So, after waiting for a while, they ask the staff at the airport for help. They ask the staff to give their agent's number and talk to them, but no one picks up the phone. So the staff says today is Friday, and Friday is the day off day here. And it may be the number of the office. Maybe that's why the phone is not being received. You guys wait. Your agent may be in the traffic. Maybe he'll come in a while. After a while, they see an Arabic person, which we call Kafil Jr. in Arabic. Who is the owner? And he was also called Kafil in the movie. So anyway, Kafil comes to them and checks the documents. Then he tells the two of them to come with him. Then Najib and Hakim can understand that this is their agent. So the two of them follow him behind the truck. When the two of them wake up, they think. The rest of the agents have taken their people by the AC bus. But why is this guy taking us by the broken truck? Still, they sit quietly. It will be that whatever happens, we have to get to work. In the middle of the road, Najib says, "Hakim, we forgot to call Mom. We've been here for a long time. Maybe she was worried about us." So, Hakim gets in the car window and tells Kafil, "We have to call home, but Junior Kafil can't understand them. And on the contrary, he says, 'Sit in the back or you'll fall.' On the way, Kafil sees another car driver next to his car. Asking him, 'Are you taking these two to the market?' Kafil says no, they are unwell, so I'm taking them to the hospital." Hakim and Najib turn around in the car. After a long journey, until the end, Kafil Jr. stops in the middle of the desert. Seeing the desolation around, the two brothers get scared, and they look at their documents and say, "We came to the city to work. You took us here by mistake." But the amazing thing is, Kafil Jr. doesn't let them talk. Then another Arabic person comes from the front, which we will call Kafil 2. Kafil Jr. tells the people, "You keep this little boy. I'll come tomorrow morning." Then, he tells Najib to sit in the truck again, and on the other side, Kafil 2 forcefully takes Hakim inside. Then the two brothers keep shouting, "Don't separate us. You are misunderstanding us." But no one listens to them. Then Kafil Jr. beat the Najib and tell him to seat in the truck. The two brothers can't understand what's going on with them, but they can understand something. Maybe they have to give something here, or do something important. Then Kafil Jr. finishes another long journey. Again, his car is parked in a place in the desert. Here too, he comes to a new Arabic person, which we will call Kafil. Then Kafil Jr. tells the people, "Look, I have brought someone for you. You keep him now." Najib tries to understand the new Kafil in his language in English, but no one can understand his language. Then Kafil Jr. takes Najib there. In this, Najib sees an old man who can speak Hindi in front of him. The old man asks him, "Who are you?" But Najib needs a lot of water. So Najib asks the old man about water. The old man points him to a water tank. Najib goes there and gets some water. Then a camel picks him up from there. Najib gets scared to see the camel. Now because it's too cold outside, Najib goes inside Kafil's tent and listen to the story of his guest. As far as we know, Najib used to work as a sailor from the river in Kerala. Then one of his friends named Santosh, he can know about his sister's marriage. He works in Saudi Arabia. And now it was easy to get a visa to Saudi Arabia. Najib asks Santosh, "How much does it cost to go there?" Santosh says, "Only 30,000 rupees will come with visa and passport. Najib says, I don't have that much money. You have to sell the house for this. Santosh says, you don't have to sell the house for this. You do what everyone does. You keep the house closed and go to Saudi Arabia with the money, and you can work there and leave the house in 3 months, and work for 2 to 3 years and earn a lot of money, and come to the country and settle down. Najib remembers the story of his friend. Santosh says, his uncle has an agent. You have to pay him money. A few days later, Najib keeps his house closed and earns money, and give money to his friend's uncle. We can see Najib's family where his mother and wife were. His wife's name is Sainu. Sainu's 2 brothers work in Saudi Arabia, so she is happy to take her husband there to work. Najib's mother makes a special pickle for him, which he can eat on the road and there. Sainu and Najib had only one dream, that is to renovate their broken house and make a beautiful house, as it is now. Suddenly, the kafir kicks Najib and lifts him from that place and says with a laugh, What are you doing in my place? How dare you? Go out and sleep. Hearing this, Najib says, Where will I sleep outside? And it's very cold outside, but the kafir doesn't allow him anywhere, and sleep in his tent. Now that night, Najib somehow controls himself and can't sleep well. The next day, Najib sees that the old man is milking a calf. Najib asks for the old man's name. Then the old man says, I don't remember my name. I have been working here for many years. Then he tells Najib to give the milk to the kafir, but Najib can't understand him, and he himself comes and starts milking. Seeing him milking, the old man doesn't recognize him at first, and says, Donkey, it's not for you. I'm telling you to give it to the kafir. Najib can understand him. Then he brings more milk and comes to give it to the kafir. When the kafir was milking, Najib tries to understand him, that he is stuck here, but the kafir doesn't listen to him, and he goes to the old man and tells him to go to work. In the afternoon, the Kafir Jr. returns again. The 2 kafirs were talking to each other. Then Najib comes there again. Looking at his documents, he says that they brought Najib here by mistake. And where is his brother? Did they give him any work? Hearing this, the junior kafir steals his passport and documents. Seeing this, Najib keeps working hard. He says, What did you do this? This was the only proof that I came here. But the kafir didn't care about this. After a while, the 2 of them went inside the tent and made a lot of big roti. Then the Kafir Jr. called him to eat roti. Najib was angry, but he didn't eat anything for a whole day, so he starts eating a roti. But that roti was very thick and hard. There was no vegetable with it, so Najib had to dip it in water and eat it. And being in such a situation, it was no less than a bad dream for Najib. Then in the afternoon, he meets the old man and asks, how far is the main road from here? The old man says, he doesn't know how far the road is. He couldn't see any road for a few years. Hearing all this, Najib could understand. Maybe the way he was brought here, the same way this old man was brought here. Because of the cold here at night, Najib tries to sleep in a broken car of the kafir. We can see a flashback where Sainu and Najib were thinking about their children. And the day comes to see. The day the whole family comes to the railway station to send Najib abroad. Here we can know that Najib's uncle, who had come to work in Saudi Arabia with him, but out of the 2 brothers, he fell in love with his own brother. Then the train leaves, and Najib comes to Saudi Arabia to say goodbye to his wife. Currently it can be seen that Najib was freshening up with water in the morning. Then the junior kafir hits him with a stick and abuses him, and goes away with water, because they bought water there with money, and there was a lot of water there. Then the stick tells Najib to use the stick. And hearing this, Najib feels even worse. After a while, people filling water in the tank come to his car. Then Sujukbe, Najib requests him to take him to the main road by car. He made a mistake and came here. Then the junior kafir comes there, and he says to Najib, what are you talking about? I think you won't improve. This means he keeps hitting him with his head belt. And when Najib holds his hand, then the kafir comes with his gun. Seeing this, Najib loses his mind. Then the kafir shoots him in the head with a gun. Then the water in the tank keeps filling up, and Najib keeps thinking about the water. How is he getting water here? if there was no shortage of water in his village. He used to live in the river. The next day, the Kafir tells Najib to wash the milk of the sheep. Najib says, "I can't wash the milk. Where is the milk?" But the milk was not there. So the Kafir tells Najib to wash the milk of the sheep. Najib tries to wash the milk in front of Najib, but he can't. So the Kafir teaches Najib the rule of washing milk. Then Najib goes to learn that work, now that milk has not come there yet. So Najib thinks the milk has escaped from here, or has been sent to someone else. The reason for this is that the Kafir has to take Najib across the fence. One day, two fences suddenly fight with each other. Seeing this, Najib tries to stop them, but the fences attack him instead. Then, the Kafir Jr. comes there, and he gives Najib some water. Najib tells Najib that these things will not happen soon. He tells Najib to show him the way to the hospital, because he is injured, but the Kafir Jr. tells him to work quietly. It's been a few months. Now Najib has to clean all the fences every day, because he couldn't get the milk. Najib hasn't washed the milk from the first day, and how will he do it? He wasn't giving him enough water. One day, the mirror of the car keeps looking at his face. Then he can't recognize himself. Seeing the state of his face, he gets nervous. Besides, he has become very weak since before, and his face has become black. Then poor Najib tries to cut his beard with a piece of glass, but he can't do it. He keeps crying like his mother for the first time, and he goes to a high place to end his life. Then he falls down, where he was eating something. Najib can go down and understand. There was a dead body there, but he couldn't recognize the dead body. But after seeing it with his mind, Najib can understand. Maybe this is the dead body, which couldn't be found for a long time. Maybe he killed himself here because he couldn't do it. Or maybe he shot him because he had nothing to do now. Najib tries to get rid of the guards there, but on the contrary, the guards attack him. Then he leaves there with a sad heart. Now he is no longer worried about killing himself. In this, he lives in the village of Akargul for his mother, so he remembers his village from him. And now he decides that whatever he does, he will run away from here for his wife and child. So the next day he goes a little far at the feet of Najib's guards and starts running away from there. But at that time, Junior Kafil sees him, and he runs after him and tries to stop him by shooting. Now Najib is weak from before, so he runs away for a while, and Junior Kafil catches him, now in front of him, so that Najib doesn't run away. So Junior Kafil breaks his leg with his gun. Then he puts him in the place of the guards at night when he is thirsty. Then the guards have to drink the water of the guards to save him. Now as time goes by, years go by, and Najib is slowly getting used to staying here. Now the story of running away. He has now left the hope of returning to his family, because as far as the eye can see, only the ground can be seen. He knows he can't get out of there, apart from this because of his broken leg. Now he has to walk through the woods. One day when he was walking through the woods, then a black cloud comes in the sky, and a few moments later, the storm begins. Seeing this, Najib goes down a mountain with all the wild animals. Then suddenly, Najib hears some songs from inside the cave. So Najib slowly goes inside the cave and reaches the other side of the mountain. When he reaches there, he sees a man in front of him. When the man comes to him, he can understand. This is none other than his brother, Hakim, whose condition has become like a lot of Najib, because he was also tied to that kafir. They kept cutting each other. I don't know how many months or how many years later they saw each other. Hakim tells Najib that they will run away from here now. Najib says it is not possible. He has tried a lot before, and now the kafir has broken his leg. Hakim gets emotional when he hears his story. A few moments later, a kafir of Hakim was coming from a far place. So Hakim tells Najib, "You have to go from me, brother. We will meet again." A few days later, when Najib was climbing the mountain, then Hakim gives him a sign from a distance. And for Najib, he leaves a paper in that place. Poor Najib goes there in the middle of the night, and he starts reading the writings on the paper, where Hakim has written that Hakim has been sent to a kafir nearby, and there is an African man named Ibrahim with him, who used to work here before. He knows all the roads here, So Hakim talked to Ibrahim and understood everything, so that Ibrahim and Najib can run away from here. The next day, the three of them meet at one place. Here we can see that Najib's voice was not coming from his throat, because he did not eat well. He was talking very slowly. Ibrahim says that a few days later, the big Kafir's daughter will get married, so all the Kafirs will go there. So that day they will run away from here. And this is how Ibrahim tells everyone about his plan. Now a few days later, that day comes, and the Kafirs bring grass for their wild animals. Then all the Kafirs go to the city by car. After everyone leaves, Najib opens all his clothes. He keeps bathing in the water of the tank, because since he came here, he has not bathed since then. After so many days of bathing, he becomes very happy. After that, Najib does not wear his old clothes, that is, the short pants that he wore when he came here. But while staying here, his body has dried up a lot, so the panty was not fitting him now. So Najib has to tie it with a rope now. Then he says goodbye to the water of the grass here, and it gets very emotional to see them. Anyway, after that, the three of them leave from there. At night, they are all thirsty for water. Fortunately, they saw a Kafir's tent there, so Ibrahim tries to hide there and get water, but the Kafir there starts shooting at them. Now the three of them were running with their lives, and they kept running all night. In the morning, when they woke up, they saw that there was nothing but dead earth all around. Ibrahim could not find the way to run here at night, but still they continue their journey. After going a little further, the Hakim sees that a camel is drinking water from a distance. So the Hakim runs that way, but Ibrahim keeps telling the Hakim that there is no water there, it's just an illusion. But the Hakim does not listen. And after reaching that place, he realized that there was actually a dead camel there, and there really was no water there. So after walking a few more ways, Ibrahim prays in one place. At that time, a lot of help comes out of the soil there, which is one of the most poisonous snakes in the world. Ibrahim and the Hakim somehow escape from there, but Najib comes back there. Then Ibrahim tells him to stay in one place. Najib was trying, but he was very scared, but fortunately, he escapes, and all the fears go away from there. But now Najib can understand that his shoes fell somewhere while running last night, because of which his feet got very wet in the heat. He left his jacket and tied it on his feet. Then they start the journey again. They keep walking for a few hours, but there is no water anywhere. In the middle of the way, the Hakim's body gets worse. He has to get water from far away. Then Ibrahim tries to get the sun from the Hakim, but in this, the Hakim loses control of his brain again. Seeing the Hakim, there were many big buildings in front of him, and there was food water. The Hakim runs with all his strength, and he goes there, steals, and eats food. But we can see that he was eating a bullet, and when Ibrahim and Najib try to stop him, then the Hakim holds Najib's neck. Then he starts running again, but suddenly he gets blood from him due to eating a bullet, and the Hakim dies there. Seeing this, Najib's condition gets worse. He doesn't want to work. He has lost hope now. Ibrahim faces him, but then there is a mud puddle there, and they struggle a lot to escape from that puddle. But because of that mud puddle, the Hakim's body gets stuck under a bullet somewhere. Even if they don't want to, Najib starts searching for the Hakim's body again. But in this mud puddle, all the water in their body dries up. Their condition is getting worse now. Ibrahim has also lost his strength now. After walking a lot like this, Ibrahim can see a dot at a time. Seeing that, he can understand that maybe there is some water nearby, and after a little searching, they definitely find a small puddle of water. Seeing this, Najib runs towards the water, but Ibrahim stops him, because Ibrahim says that these waters can be poisonous. So Ibrahim wets a cloth and wipes their mouth. In that place, Ibrahim finds a glass bottle. With this, Ibrahim keeps the sound of the flute. After a while, the bird flies away with it. Seeing this, Ibrahim can understand which way to go now. And Ibrahim can also understand this, because after drinking some water, their body does not show any reaction. Anyway, they start the journey again in the morning, but Najib's body is now weak, so they spend the evening in one place. In the morning, Najib can see that Ibrahim is not with him. After a little searching, he can understand that Ibrahim has left here. and while leaving, Ibrahim has kept a bottle of water for him, which he took from that well. And the dry dates on the bottle, Ibrahim took some dates from the date tree next to the well. But the dates were also dry. So now, after drinking all the water, Najib gets some peace in his mind, and he starts his journey alone. But how long can one bottle of water stay in this desert? Najib struggles a lot and goes on his last attempt. Another day comes like this, and Najib struggles to move. Suddenly, the water in his body does not remain. He steals it. Then, the bottle in his hand also falls, and that bottle slowly reaches a hard object, where it finally reaches the main road. Seeing this, he suddenly gets a kind of power. From here, he can save his life. At first, he tries to get help from a truck driver, but the driver does not help him. An hour later, a Rolls-Royce car stops there. An Arab person gets out of the car and puts Najib in the car and gives him water, and drops him to the city. Najib becomes very happy about it, and after sleeping around the city, fortunately, he gets some water with him. Then he meets a man named Kunjika, who brought his own stuff. He has his own hotel in Saudi Arabia. Seeing Najib's condition, he takes care of him. After a few days, Najib tells Kunjika about his house. Then Kunjika calls his house and asks him to talk to Najib. Now 4 years later, Najib talks to his wife, and she knows that he is their son. Think about it. The man had left the hope of returning home, and he was thinking of killing himself. Today he can hear his wife's words, and he can also know that he is a boy. Anyway, he is given to the police. Now, as he didn't have any documents, the government of Saudi Arabia sends such people to their country. In this way, all the arrangements for Najib's return to the country are made. At the police station, Najib can see a picture of Ibrahim. Maybe Ibrahim is missing or dead. Anyway, the next day people like Najib are lined up in the jail, and some of the convicts are arrested there. Actually, there was a rule that if a convict recognized his slave there, he could take him away. Now, a convict keeps killing his slave. Najib gets very scared, and he tries to hide slowly. In this, Najib's junior convict comes there, and he recognizes Najib. But as you can understand from his words, actually 4 years ago, when Hakim and Najib came to work here, then the junior convict cheated them and took them with him, because he was a slave. That means Hakim and Najib came here legally. Maybe because it was Friday that day, the people of his company came to take them the next day. But at that time, the junior convict cheated them and took them with him, because they had a language problem, and they couldn't understand anything at that time. Since Najib is not his official slave, so this rule will not apply to Najib, and now the junior convict can understand that he has spoiled it. That's why he left here. That means, as you can understand, they were slaves for 4 years, and poor Hakim died for no reason. Here, Ibrahim was the official slave, and he wanted to run away from here. Now, after imprisoning Najib for 3 months, one day everyone was sent to India, and the movie ends here. Many people may have forgotten that this is a true story, so if you like the video, please like it, and if you want to get such interesting videos, you can subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much.